On behalf,
Sorry, so you're stopping now, right?
yeah,
Thank you.
on behalf of the people of Papua New Guinea, the People's Anti-Corruption Movement Incorporated has laid a formal complaint under Section 61 and 62 of the Criminal Code, alleging that the Prime Minister has induced or bribed members of Parliament to vote in favor of the Prime Minister in August session of Parliament in 2024, and again in November 2024 to suppress the possible vote of no confidence in him, which the Supreme Court has overruled last month. The alleged bribery in this allegation emanates from the payment of accommodation and meals to members of Parliament on the Loloata Island Resort, where all the members of Parliament in the government camp had been accommodated for weeks at cost attributed to the Prime Minister or by other persons associated with the Prime Minister in order to defeat the vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister James Marape. I am making this call because the people must be properly informed that any members of the National Parliament who receive any form of inducement and who is influenced by this inducement to cast his vote in favor of the party offering the inducement is guilty of committing a criminal offense. The specific provisions of the Criminal Code that I am relying on are Section 61 and 62, which read as follows. Section 61, members of the Parliament receiving bribes. In subsection 1 it says, a member of the Parliament who asks, receives or obtains or agrees or attempts to receive or obtain any property or benefit for himself or any other person on any understanding that his vote, opinion, judgment or action in the Parliament or any committee of the Parliament will be influenced by it, A, or be given any particular manner or in favor of any particular side of any question or matter, is guilty of a crime. And the penalty is imprisonment for a term not exceeding 7 years. 2, a person who commits an offense against this subsection 1 is disqualified from sitting or voting as a member of the Parliament for 7 years. 3, a person shall not be arrested without warrant for an offense against subsection 1. Section 61 of the Criminal Code is very clear on the circumstances under which a sitting member of the National Parliament can be held liable for criminal prosecution under the specific provision of the Criminal Code. Breaking Section 61 down, we have the following elements that prosecution is required to prove. 1, that the person must be a current sitting member of the Parliament and that he must, 1, ask, receive or obtains, or agrees or attempts to receive or obtain any property or benefit for himself or any other person on any other understanding that his vote, opinion, judgment or action in the Parliament or any committee of the Parliament will be influenced by it or be given any particular manner or in favor of any particular side of any question on the matter is guilty of a crime. The wording of Section 61 of the Criminal Code is very clear, and that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this. Merely, any educated person who can read and understand English can easily make out these words to mean that a current sitting member of Parliament who under some kind of inducement or duress or coercion places himself in a compromising position or any understanding that his vote, opinion, judgment, or action in the Parliament may be influenced by it or be given in any particular manner or favor of any particular side of any question or matter is guilty of a crime. The penalty for this crime is that he is liable for imprisonment for not more than 7 years. The facts that I'm relying on to make my case against any member of Parliament, either in the government side or the opposition, is that if sufficient evidence is established through a proper and thorough investigation that a member or members of Parliament in a particular camp were induced to cast their votes in favor of their group, by any form of inducement to sway his or her vote, they can be criminally prosecuted under the specific provision. Similarly, you don't have to look far. Immediately before the vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister, huge amounts of money have been drawn from the government accounts from members of Parliament immediately on the eve of the vote of no confidence. It is very clear that members of Parliament have been grouped together and camped at the Luluwata Island resort that were costs and were paid for by whom. The provision clearly establishes that any current member of the Parliament who asks, receives, or obtains, or agrees to, or attempts to receive or obtain any property or benefit for himself or any other person on any understanding that his vote, opinion, judgment, or action in the Parliament will not be influenced by it or be given any particular manner or in favor of any particular side of any question or matter is guilty of a crime. Again, Section 62 specifically refers to a person who induces the bribery, and it reads as follows. 62, bribery of a member of the Parliament. A person who, A, in order to influence a member of the Parliament in his vote, opinion, judgment, or action, or any question or matter arising in the Parliament or in any committee of the Parliament, or 2, induce a member to abstain himself from the Parliament or from a committee of the Parliament, gives, confers, or procures, or promises, or offers to give or confer, or to procure or attempt to procure any property on or benefit to, on or for the member, or to or on for any other person, or B, attempts directly or indirectly by fraud, threats, or intimidation of any kind to influence a member of Parliament in his vote, opinion, judgment, or action in any such question or matter, or to induce him to so absent himself, is guilty of a crime. Penalty is imprisonment for a term not exceeding 7 years. And subsection 2 of the Criminal Code, a person shall not be arrested without a warrant for an offense against subsection 1. Where, in subsection 3 it says, where a person is convicted of an offense against this section, all property that has been tendered or produced in evidence at the trial of the offender, or being the property or part of the property which the offender, in the course of the commission of the offense gave, conferred or procured, or promised or to own for any other person is forfeited to the state, whether property is property of the offender or of any other person. Again, when we break this provision down, we have the following elements to establish. A person who, A, in order to influence a member of the Parliament in his vote, opinion, judgment, or action, or any other question or matter arising in the Parliament or in any committee of the Parliament, or to induce a member to absent himself from the Parliament or from a committee of the Parliament, gives, confers, or procures, promises, or offers to give or confer or to procure or attempt to procure any property or benefit to own the member or to own or not for any other person, or attempts directly or indirectly by fraud, threats, or intimidation of any kind to influence a member of Parliament in his vote, opinion, judgment, or action on any such question or matter, or to induce him to absent himself, is guilty of a crime. And the penalty is imprisonment for a term not exceeding 7 years. It is not difficult to look for the evidence to establish these facts. Members of Parliament who have been kept in camp at the Luluwata Island Resort appear to have been kept there with some forms of inducement, coercion, or duress. Members of Parliament do not need to be kept in such camp. They are free to move around at their own free will and to vote on any matter in Parliament at their own free will. Recently, a member of Parliament openly stated in the Parliament that he was given 5 million kina by the Marape government, a minister of the government, in a form of inducement. Again, government records appear to show that immediately before the impending vote of no confidence, a large amount of money has been drawn down from the government accounts, clearly implicating the Prime Minister of bribing members of Parliament to vote for him in the impending motion no confidence against the Prime Minister. The timing of these payments to the members of Parliament is crucial in establishing whether an offense of bribery has been established. It is immaterial to consider whether the payments are legitimate government business. I therefore once again call on the police commissioner to get the courts to issue a warrant of arrest against the Prime Minister pursuant to Section 62 of the Criminal Code and a further warrant of arrest pursuant to 61 of the Criminal Code for all the members of Parliament currently camped at the that camped on the Loluata Island Resort in the 2024 August session of Parliament. The call by the Honourable Governor for Enga not to go into camp is a noble act that is becoming a great leader who has the respect for the integrity and dignity of our members of Parliament. In the event that the police commissioner fails to perform his constitutional duties, I will call on the commander of the People's Army to uphold the rule of law and to obtain warrants of arrest from the court and arrest and place all members of Parliament camped at the Loluata Island Resort last August, including the Prime Minister, under arrest and charge them with bribery under Section 61 of the Criminal Code. Now, I don't have to be a lawyer to understand what is written in very plain English. And I think in this country, law enforcement agencies, including the police, the Ombudsman Commissioner, the Ombudsman Commission, the newly established ICAC, the Defense Force, and the Office of the Public Prosecutor, even the judiciary have been compromised on the rule of law. And we want to make it crystal clear that the People's Anti-Corruption Movement will leave no stone unturned to establish the rule of law in this country. And we are now calling on the police commissioner to perform his constitutional duties in complying and attending to our complaint, which we have filed on the 3rd of April, Tuesday the 3rd of April, against the Prime Minister for bribing members of Parliament. And he shall not hesitate to obtain a warrant of arrest for the Prime Minister for having violated Section 62 of the Criminal Code in bribing members of Parliament by treating them on the island of Loluata. Thank you all for coming today. John Endemongo Kua, President of the People's Anti-Corruption Movement. Thank you. Yeah.